I want you to guess what this is actually going to be used for. There's 4 of these pieces. Could this have been a $20 set? How do I get this piece out of here? Today we're taking a look at a Lego Star Wars diorama set that came out in 2023, set to retire at the end of 2024, which is only a few weeks away at this point. And that's why putting this video together was a little bit of a struggle, but I'm of course talking about the Lego Star Wars Endor Speeder Chase diorama. This is a set that I've been eyeing for quite a while. It popped up during the Black Friday deals and I found it pretty much half price off. It retails usually for $80, but I picked it up around $50, which is a pretty good deal, but not an easy deal to get because I had left my tabs open on my phone for about a week, just waiting for the perfect moment to buy the set. And then when I felt ready, it said that the product has expired. Not that it had sold out and they're waiting for more stock to come in. No, it's retired, it's done. You can't order this set anymore. And I was pretty bummed. I felt like I had missed out on a pretty good opportunity. But a few days later, on a Wednesday, I think it was at 2 a.m., the set popped back up and it said they were in stock. And I bought it, and the next day I get an email saying, no, this set has retired and you're gonna get your money back. And then it pops back up on the website and a few days later, and I buy it again. And the next day I get the same email. Your money's going to be refunded and the set has retired. At this point, I'm pretty sad. But then it comes back on the website. This is now the 3rd time. And it says that now they have 2 copies at the closest store near my apartment. So I buy it and I don't click anything to do with shipment. I just ask to pick it up in the store itself. And I come home that evening from a trip and I go straight from the airport to pick up the set, and now we're here and I have it. When it comes to my experience with the diorama sets, I am quite inexperienced, but I recommended my partner pick up the Emperor's Throne Room for Christmas for her dad last year. And she said that it made him really happy, but it made her other brothers very jealous because they hadn't received any Lego. And there's your sign that most people might not tell you they want Lego sets, but they want them. She told me that her dad and her brother actually built the set together, which was a pretty wholesome moment. And when I actually was introduced to her family, one of the first things I got them, instead of a fancy bottle of wine, I got her brother and her dad the Brickhead's Lego Star Wars set of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And most people might give people fancy wine or something when they meet the parents, but at this point I think that I will only be gifting people Lego because I do really think that it's a great chance for people to reconnect with their inner child and forget about the responsibilities. One of the things that I actually mentioned in my previous video is that our parents do so much for us when we grow up. They drive us to school, they help us figure out what sport we're into, and they pick us up when we're down. And that's why I think gifting your parents something that let them forget about their responsibilities and reconnect with their inner child is such a great gift to give. So think about that for the upcoming holidays. At $80 and 603 pieces and an adult-oriented box design, I'm not surprised that the set feels a little bit overpriced, and I understand exactly whose pocket they're reaching for in the room. It's us adults, but I've had a little bit of a soft spot for this set, considering that my first ever Star Wars set was the Ewok Attack from 2002, which included the Scout Trooper, which is one of my favorite minifigs ever, along with the Snow Trooper. So I'm very glad to see that the Scout Trooper makes a return here. And at the price that I got it at, I think this set is worth it, and I'm very excited to move on and show you the box design. A question I asked myself before buying this set was, could this have been a $20 set if we got rid of the diorama, and would that have been a better set? And is the diorama itself not just a glorified mock that turned into an official set? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because I think it could have been a $20 set. One of my favorite design choices on these adult-oriented boxes are the unique titles that you can find on almost all of the sets. In this case, we have an Endor emblem with the Death Star rising above the tree line. Then around the side, we have a different arrangement of the figures. On the back, we have a still from Return of the Jedi during the speeder chase sequence. Then we have it recreated in Lego form, which stays quite truthful to the source material. And then a diagram at the bottom telling us that it's 8 inches tall and 11 inches wide, which is 28 centimeters wide and 20 centimeters tall. And with that said, let's crack this bad boy open. So my partner actually gifted me this tray because she saw some of the comments saying that there were too many colors on the tray that I was using before. So today we will be using the Gentleman's Lego Club tray.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Okay, we're back to plastic bags since I think it's only the 2024 sets that came in paper bags. I feel like the boxes are getting bigger, but the amount of pieces are getting smaller in these sets. I can definitely say that we're wasting space in these plastic bags. Almost all of them are coming half full, which is a little bit strange to me. I mean, this is what proper use of space looks like. This is just a little bit wild to me, but hey, once you've opened the box, you end up with 5 bags and 3 base plates and the booklet itself, and seemingly no sticker sheets so far. But I actually went ahead and ordered 4 more extra pieces from Lego's website because I consider this set a little bit incomplete because there is a building technique that I'm not sure if it's considered illegal or not, but I'm just not a fan of how they built it. So I figured out what pieces that I needed to build it in a way that would satisfy me. Taking a look at the booklet, it's now vertical, and we have, of course, some of these more adult-oriented instructions that feature a little bit more about the insights of the actual scene that this set is based off of. And it's very cool, and I appreciate these little extra details that Lego provides us for these adult sets. Now that we've taken a look at the instructions, I want you to guess what this is actually going to be used for. There's 4 of these pieces, and I'm just curious if anyone can figure out what I'm going to be using them for. I'm not sure if it's an illegal building technique, but since Lego put them in the set itself, it probably isn't, but it doesn't look great in my opinion, so I'll be using these 4 pieces to fill in the gaps where I think that Lego actually slacked a little bit. With that said, let's get on with bag 1. And I just noticed there's a scout trooper indicating how far along we are in the build. Bag number 1. First, we have 1 printed piece, which makes me very happy to see. It's a quote from Luke, which says, "Quick, jam their comm links, center switch, Luke Skywalker." Great to see a printed piece. Here is another one, and I assume that these come with all of them. And it's great to see because we didn't even get a single printed piece that was unique to the Cantina, I believe, which was quite a shame, nor the Droideka. So it's quite nice to see that, at least in this set, we have a unique printed piece element. Let's start off with creating the base. So far, I'm getting the vibe that this is a very mature set. The amount of black pieces just makes it feel a little bit adult. Maybe it's because of the box design has kind of conditioned me into believing that the more black a set is or marketed as, the more mature it is. But generally, quite a good build so far. I haven't really done much, but I'm liking it. It's my first diorama set, as I stated prior, and so far so good. I think that these silver pieces are creating a great little contrast and against the black, which is going to look really good, I think, once it's completed. So it's not just completely dull with a black frame. Very mature, very 18 plus. A child could never build this set. As I stated in a previous video as well, the reason why I like this type of Star Wars set is because it has color, and to me the gray massive ships or sets like the AT-AT, they just don't really entice me to build them or spend the money when the colors are so repetitive. And something like this is perfect for me because I get color and it's more of a scene. It's not just a stationary ship. I've seen the MIDI scale, I think it's Starship Collection is what they call it now. Those sets look, I think, great, but there's nothing with minifigs going on, and there's just not really that much playability. They're good display sets such as this one, but this you can still interact and pose the set a little bit differently, and I just don't think there's any posability with some of the Starship Collection sets. So this is a great alternative for anyone who's looking for color and something that you can customize a little bit and have fun with yourself. And you can take off the speeders and play around with them however you want, and that's a little bit more fun and playability than I think that some of the other sets offer. And again, to me, Lego's supposed to be a toy and inspire imagination and play, and this is one of those sets that you can play around with. Oh, it's been a while since I've been building Lego on a regular, so I completely forgot to do the little system at the back, so gotta go back and do that before we can move on. And that is step 1. Bag number 2. Now we're kind of laying down the greenery in this set, and I love the colors so far, and I'm very excited that this is such a colorful set. Let's do it. Here we have Nexonite shields in green, and they look amazing. That's really neat. Here is the mistake. How do I get this piece out of here? So this is what goes here, and then this. There we go. You can't tell me that we're not wasting space with bags this big and this much space left. Anyway, we are on to bag number 3. At this point, we get our first minifig, and it's Princess Leia. This is the first time I have a Princess Leia figure, and I really like the camo outfit along with the fact that it's green and colorful, not gray. Here we are again with colorful pieces that make no sense at all, to me at least. Since we're building with repetitive colors otherwise, I don't think that using especially bright ones make it easier. Let's build a tree. It's falling apart. So far, the building technique of this tree seems like it's going to be something that I really enjoy. And as I mentioned, I'm not a fan of repetitive builds nor gray builds, and this really is so far an amazing set that I highly recommend you pick up before it expires. Well, not expires, but retires, which is in a few weeks. So get the set while it lasts, and if you can find it during potentially Boxing Day, pick it up then if you can find it on sale, because this really is a set that you're gonna regret missing out on once it's off the shelves. I think, personally, in my humble belief. Oh, this is a weird piece that I have never seen before. It's kind of like 2 studs stacked on top of each other, but with a little hole inside of it. Never seen this before. When you start stacking these bricks together, it really is not a sturdy build, but I'm starting to understand now with the snot locking technique that things are getting locked in, which is going to increase the stability of the structure inside, which is clever building techniques. You get color and you get variety of building and intricate building techniques in this set so far. 10 out of 10 would recommend if you can find it for the right price. It does, however, feel like techniques that you would find in a mock, because I've never seen a Star Wars set going this intricate with something such as a tree. But it's very fun to get to experience something a little bit new in the Lego space. I'm not really that far along, but the shaping already is really interesting and intricate. Very fun so far. I'm learning. Seeing what you guys have been doing for a few years now, and I'm realizing how much I've missed out on this. Very fun and very fresh. The detailing here is great. It looks a bit like the tree has been cut off here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. The sand green really adds this mossy texture, and I fully am sold on it. It's a very nice color, and it really just adds to the liveliness of this tree. It feels like it really is decomposing right in front of you. It's super cool. The scenes from Endor were shot in the redwoods in California, and this really kind of in minifig scale definitely has that vibe. Maybe they're supposed to be even taller. I'm not sure how tall they are. Very tall, that's all I know. But I think that they're quite well represented in Lego format as well. Definitely not to scale though, but would be interesting to see how big they would have to be to scale. It's a little bit hard to see where these things are supposed to go because you have a quite cramped space, along with the fact that it's a little hard to see in the instructions because it's from an angle. A little tricky to read the instructions. It's a great detailed build, but I think we're starting to sacrifice sanity because it's getting tight. It's like we're getting a Lego Botanical set in a Star Wars set, honestly. I mean, do I have to say it at this point? We are definitely wasting space with these bags, but we're on to bag number 4. Now we're getting to build the speeders, which I'm super excited about. When I had my first Scout Trooper set, I'm pretty sure that it just came with a yellow face with a visor on it. It didn't actually have a face print. But this is a super cool helmet and really detailed fig. Very cool, very happy with it. These are the stands that we will mount the speeders to once they're completed, and they're in these transparent pieces that will give the illusion that they're flying. Now, this is the part that I'm curious about because the speeders look excellent and they are way more detailed than I ever think they have been before. And I am interested to know if they hold up on their own because that's what my impression is. Although I'm very much enjoying the actual diorama, it's way more detailed than I thought it could be. I am interested to see if the speeders could have been released in a set on their own because they might just be that great and hold up on their own. But let's see. To shape the exhaust, we use these little butcher knives that I've never seen before, but it's a pretty neat way of shaping it and nice piece usage, NPU. I'm starting to feel like we're getting close to the part that I actually ordered spare pieces for. Guess in the comments below before we get there what you think that these extra pieces might be used for. First time I saw these pieces were actually in the Bionicle Baraki line where they were used as eyes. And it is very strange to see these with no transparency at all, considering that when they were used as eyes, they had a little bit of transparency. I think they were either red or blue. Fun to see it here, but a little weird. So the moment of truth has come. I am using these extra pieces that I ordered because the next step is something that I consider almost an illegal build, and I think that this technique has been considered illegal according to Lego in the past. What they want you to do is using these little square pieces to clip them in here, and what makes an illegal build is that the pieces put stress on each other and eventually break. But to me, this just doesn't look like a great build, and that is why I ordered these extra pieces so that instead of it being clipped in a almost illegal way, I used these little hinge pieces that make sense for this kind of connection point. Then they attach just like this on the side and it works. I think this looks way better and it just didn't feel like a complete set the way that Lego had originally designed this product. And that is the first speeder done. It looks really nice and detailed, and I'm very excited to get the other one done. One thing that I'm absolutely loving so far is the amount of color that we get on this set. The speeders have 3 different colors, gray, black, and beige. And the diorama itself has, I think, 3 different shades of green, and the tree itself has different shades of brown. And it's really this kind of stuff that makes something like this pop out. And of course I chose this set on purpose because I like colorful sets that have a little bit of flair and imagination to it. And you can take these speeders off and play around with them on your own if you're a kid. And I really think that a set like this provokes the imagination that kids need to foster their creativity. And I'm just very glad that I picked this set up, because I did think that the diorama in itself maybe wasn't worth it. I just thought that the speeders were cool. But looking at this, I really do think that it's a neat set. And if you are a kid that wants to play with it, you can just take the speeders off and play around with them on their own, and also expand on what you get in the diorama itself by using your own bricks that you may have from other sets. So I really do think that it does provide a little bit of creativity, even if it's contained within a frame. I do think that it provokes the type of imagination and playability that I would have liked to see as a kid. When I was a kid, I actually received a Lego Harry Potter set for my birthday at one point, and it was Lucius Malfoy and Dobby. They came together in a set. And what I find funny is that back in the day, Harry Potter used these lightsaber pieces as well, and I'm not sure if these came in any other sets before. Maybe it was introduced for Star Wars, I'm not sure. But the fact that Star Wars and Harry Potter used the same piece for very different purposes, I found quite charming, considering one is a lightsaber, a deadly weapon, and the other one is supposed to be a wooden wand. But that shows you the kind of creativity and imagination you might have to use when you're playing around with Lego sets, and I think that is beautiful. This connection point does feel a little bit flimsy in the front, but I guess maybe at an 18+ set, they're not considering playability as much. I mean, it is supposed to be a diorama at the end of the day, but it doesn't hurt to make it accessible for kids or adults that just want to play around with something. And here we go again with what I consider pretty much an illegal build. This is what it's supposed to look like, but I do not like that, so here we have the extra pieces again. Forgot to put on these little side panels. Just gonna add that real quick. I get too excited when I build Lego sets. It'll take me a while to maybe start being more careful with how I assemble these sets. I do miss some parts of the instructions just because I'm too eager, but I'm having a good time. And that is the second speeder. Now we just have one more tree to add and some characters. What is the point of these massive plastic bags if we're not even using half the amount of space? And could this box have been smaller? Because when you see a big box, you assume big set, but this is a little bit ridiculous. Last step, bag number 5. Oh, these are quite shiny. That's nice to see. I have one of the original chrome lightsaber hilts that I got in the Sith Infiltrator, I think it was called, or Sith Interceptor Infiltrator. I really like the level of detail in this minifig. I know it's maybe not something crazy for you Star Wars collectors, but the fact that they did get the hand colors right, one being skin tone and the other one the glove that Luke wears over his robotic hand. And one thing that I'm noticing is that the lightsaber piece used to be see-through and now it's a little bit frosted, which I don't mind it at all, but these minifigs are really cool. A very good little collection of minifigs come in this set, which I highly encourage you to check out. But now we're on to the final tree and the final part of the build. Again, using these ridiculously colored pieces as if we didn't know what piece to look for if it wasn't this bright. Stacking these bricks on top of each other the first time I thought would create a very strong connection, considering that they lock each other in, but it really isn't that strong of a connection. But that's why I use all the wood panels or the brown pieces to then lock them in, and it creates a really strong connection point. And we have some more sand green pieces. I love these. They remind me a little bit of the early Harry Potter sets that had a ton of these. Maybe they have updated this color at some point and maybe it's not called sand green anymore, but whatever color this is, it makes me very happy to see it. It's a very nice color to have. Yeah, so to lock these pieces together so that they don't jiggle around, this is how you use it. So it goes from these two studs and then it connects them and holds them together. Now it's a pretty sturdy connection point, whereas you can see here, if you just wiggle them around, they go out. It's really interesting to go from the cantina, which is a building, to the droidica, which is a large scale droid, to now building these trees and terrain. The Star Wars sets that I picked up so far have been very different in their own ways. And it's quite nice because when I grew up, I mostly had sets that were starships. And this is quite different from that. So I feel like I'm exploring a lot of different things within Lego, but also Star Wars. And so far I can't say that any of these sets have reminded me of the other, and they've been very unique sets and very unique experiences. But this one I would say is a bit more challenging than the other ones. The other ones were quite straightforward. This is very much more detailed, and we get very interesting building techniques. One tree differentiates from the other, and the terrain itself is super detailed. I'm actually very impressed by this set, considering that I thought it would just be a glorified mock type of build, and that is definitely not what this is. But I'm curious to know if these building techniques had been displayed by other people from the community before it was explored from Lego. The shapes that are achieved with these slope pieces are absolutely great, and it really does start to feel like a tree trunk itself down here. And it's such a masterclass of using different techniques to achieve borderline realistic models, and it's really great to see the kind of detail that is achieved with these Lego pieces, because I've never built something like this before. Usually when I bought Lego sets as a kid, I would get them to play around with in my backyard, and I wouldn't actually build nature out of Lego. But this is getting pretty close to what I would imagine a kid building or an adult building realistic objects such as trees, and it's starting to feel quite organic, which I'm very impressed by. I've never built something like this before, so it's super exciting to see, because again, as a kid I played around in nature with Lego instead of building nature out of Lego. As if we didn't have enough of these pieces on the diorama already, we got quite a few more to put down. I'm wondering why this is coming in at the end, as if whoever built this came up with this last second idea to add even more of these ferns, because it's a lot extra. It's a little tough to it's a little bit tough to figure out where they all go. And here we have even more ferns, yeah. Okay. It is really tricky to get these pieces in here, especially with maybe a little bit of chubby fingers, but yeah, I'm starting to understand why this is an 18+ set, because it's a little tricky to get around this set. And now we only have a few more pieces left to go until the set is fully completed. And voila! I have definitely underestimated this set and maybe the diorama sets in general, But before we talk about the build experience, let's talk about the 3 exclusive minifigs that you get in this set. First off, we have Luke and Leia in these really cool camo outfits with 2 helmets, dual face print, and they carry a lightsaber and a blaster. Then we have a Scout Trooper that is definitely updated since 2002 with a really cool helmet and a blaster, and he actually has a proper face print this time. Then of course we have the dual seat speeder for Luke and Leia, and then we have the Scout Trooper with the single seat speeder. And of course we can't forget about the diorama itself. When it comes to the build experience, LEGO has made sure that this is not a repetitive build by splitting up different sections into different colors. We start off with the frame of the diorama first, which is black, silver, and beige. In step 2, where you lay down the foundation of the greenery, we have, I think, 3 different colors of green, which is great. Then we move on to the trees, where we find 3 different colors of brown and some mossy green textures, which just make the trees feel like they're alive. And then we move on to creating the 2 speeders, which are in black, beige, and gray. And finally, we have another brown tree. And with these different steps and colors, it really doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, even though maybe the speeders are very similar. It doesn't get that repetitive building the 2 of them, and it goes for the trees too. It's not a very repetitive build, and I love that. For someone who wants a set to be colorful, this really is that. But it's also so different because I thought that maybe the frame itself would limit the creativity and the playability of this set, but I think the set actually thrives in both of those aspects, that you could pick up another set to expand the diorama itself, or if you have pieces laying around at home, you can also just kind of expand on what LEGO's been giving you. This is kind of like a starting point. And if you want to play around with the set itself, you can just take off the speeders and run around in your backyard or wherever you want to play with these speeders. And those 2 are the most important points for me when it comes to LEGO. I want my set to have a fun build experience. I want to have a fun time when I'm building it. And in this case, I actually learned different techniques too that I've never used before, along with the fact that it has playability. You could play around with what you have here, and you can also expand on it. So in my opinion, that's what makes a great LEGO set, and this set actually achieved that very well. There is another set that is from the Diorama collection that runs for the same price, and that is the Mos Espa Pod Race. I would definitely personally recommend this set instead if you're gonna buy it at full price or discount, because here you actually get 3 minifigures, and in the Pod Race you only get 3 little studs, and the build for that looks more like poly bags on a little diorama set, whereas here you get actual things that you can play around with quite well that represent the scene that it comes from a lot better, in my opinion. This set actually is completely free of stickers, and it made for such a great build experience. There's no sticker zone in this video, which made me very happy not to have to create. And all in all, there was no compromise in this set, and that's what I really enjoyed with it. There's just creative building techniques and fun to be had with this set. The set is going to be retiring in a few weeks, so I would definitely recommend you pick it up before it's off the shelves, because it is such a fun experience to build something like this. It's very different, I think, from most Star Wars sets, and quite different from the other diorama sets that are currently out. And I'm not sure when we'll get a set like this next. I'm hoping for a 20th anniversary Revenge of the Sith diorama coming out next year, but I'm not sure if that's gonna happen. But this was such a creative and fun build, and I highly encourage you to pick it up for the right price. In the beginning of the video, I asked myself, could this have been a $20 set? And I don't know how to answer that still, because the speeders are amazing on their own, but on this diorama, they just look so much better. Think of it this way, it's kind of like a garage for the speeders. If you want to play with them, you can just run around outside with them, or in your apartment, or wherever you want to play with them. And then when you're done playing, you can just plop them back onto the diorama itself. One of the sets that I missed out on was the Ewok Village, and even though this is far from it, I do feel like I got a little bit of a taste what an Endor set could feel like. So definitely a nod to that. I'd like to thank all the ladies and gentlemen out there that are watching these videos for your support, whether it's through liking, commenting, subscribing, or sharing the video. It helps out the channel a lot more than you think. And I have 3 Lego sets that I have yet to open and build, so there's definitely more videos to look forward to. But with that said, I now have to go and walk my dog.